So, I was a spinning instructor. For 5 years, I taught multiple spin classes at multiple gyms all around Philadelphia. I was also a runner, a weightlifter, and a general fitness enthusiast and gym rat. I'd also built an entire identity on losing 100 pounds all by myself, with no help, with no gimmicks, no diets, no fads. Definitely, I want to stress this again, never with any help. And then one day, in October of 2018, I woke up in pain so severe from my neck to my feet after months of ignored symptoms that I could barely get out of bed. How in the world was I going to work around that? I can't even begin to tell you how I got out of bed, let alone dressed, down my stairs, and propped myself on my front stoop to wait for my Lyft driver. But all I know is that when the Lyft driver pulled up, he asked me when I gently slid myself into the back seat, "What's wrong? Did you hurt yourself in your house?" I immediately responded, "No, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just need to get to the hospital, please." When he pulled up to the entrance of the emergency room at the curb, he immediately parked the car, got out of his door, and came around, extending his hand to help me out of the car. And I declined. "No, I'll do this by myself," I said. "Thank you, though." He stood there and he said, "Well, at least let me get you a wheelchair." I definitely was not going to take that. So I declined the wheelchair. He then said, "I can't let you go. You're not going to be able to make it through the emergency door entrance by yourself like this." So, much like he was ushering me down the aisle, which I didn't know at the time, he was ushering me into a completely different life and a completely different identity, I walked arm in arm with him from the lift to the entrance of the emergency room, where he then let me go on my way. In 2019, I was officially diagnosed with the autoimmune disease rheumatoid arthritis. Now, this is not your grandmother's arthritis, which I also have, because rheumatoid arthritis leads to osteoarthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis, for those of you who don't know what it is a chronic inflammatory disease of the joints. It destroys your joints, but it also comes with some other really fun symptoms like chronic fatigue, extreme lethargy, and brain fog that's so intense that you can't concentrate for more than maybe 10 to 15 minutes at a time if you're lucky. It absolutely decimates muscle and fat stores, it degenerates the joints, and it destroys your energy. It completely saps you dry. If I had any enemies, which I do not, I would not wish the pain of RA on anybody whatsoever. It is worse than any broken bone or injury I have ever had. 1 year following my diagnosis, the pandemic happened, and like many of us, I was working from home. I took the opportunity to spend a few long stints at my dad's house in the beautiful country about 2.5 hours away. One day while there, he brought out my grandmother's cane and walker, which she used to use. I said, "Sure, go ahead, put it in the car for when we go back to Philadelphia." I had no intention of using either, but I wanted to make him feel better as my dad. Back in Philly, months later, I had scheduled an orthopedist appointment to get my knees looked at. I needed to go to this appointment. I really needed help. And being the type A personality that I am, I planned and mapped everything. I was still trying to do everything by myself, even months later. I realized that this orthopedist's office, there was a parking lot. It was like the Mordor of parking lots. It was this vast expanse of parking lot that led from this security station where the Lyft would drop me off all the way to the doctor's entrance. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I looked at the cane, and the cane looked at me, and the cane was like, well, I guess, you could use me. So I picked up the cane, and I said, this is the only way. I walked out of my house with the cane. This is my cane arm. Walked out of the house with my cane. Got to change the microphone. And walked out of the house with my cane. And as soon as I hit the ground, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I'm not a fall risk anymore. I felt safe and secure for the first time in months that I wasn't going to topple over. And not only that, that cane took all the weight off my hips and my knees, and it also took the weight off of all the shame that I felt in the past that was attached to asking for and accepting help. I wanted to be so hyper independent, and there was just shame that I felt immediately anytime the words, "I need help," came out of my mouth. Well, once that cane hit the ground, I was off running, and this was the new me. I got to the orthopedist appointment. I made it across Mordor parking lot. And I got there and I asked the receptionist, "Hey, can you help me with my insurance information? I'm new to this. I don't know if they're gonna cover this." So she helped me. "Oh my gosh, somebody actually wants to help me?" "Well, that's her job," I said. That day, the orthopedist appointment was also election day. I vote in every election. I needed to take another bus route to get to my polling place. So I caned myself to the bus route, and when the bus arrived, I asked the driver to drop the bus for me. He did. He did not protest. I became addicted to asking for help. I asked for help when I was at the food co-op when I couldn't pick up a bottle of juice from bottom shelf. I asked for help from a nutritionist on anti-inflammatory diets. I asked for help from my HR department at work and my rheumatologist to help me fill out FMLA paperwork. I asked for help from a physical therapist who gave me a series of stretching and strengthening exercises that I still do to this day. And then finally, I asked a therapist for help. The reason why I'm standing here right now is because I asked for help. I am on the stage with 2 years of RA remission under my belt, simply because I asked for help. Thank you. So it got me to thinking, maybe asking for help is how we build a stronger community. You know, we're all caught up in this rat race of survival of the fittest, when it's really not that. We're all walking skill shares, if you think about it. We're all this community of unique individuals with unique skill sets and areas of expertise and knowledge and gifts that we want to share, right? You want to share what you're excited about. So think of the strength and power and health and healing that can come if we all asked our neighbor, our friend, complete strangers and professionals for help. Maybe asking for help is the greatest workaround that we have as a collective.